Hi everybody, welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. Now some time ago, and maybe it's still called this today, but I'm not sure, there was a thing called free-range parenting. And really what it was is the idea that you just let your kids do whatever they wanted, really. They raised themselves, they figured things out for themselves. You didn't do any training, you didn't do any guidance, you didn't do really anything except keep them alive. And the whole idea was, well, they'll figure it out. They'll figure out how to do the things they need to do. They'll figure out life in general if you just let them go. They'll be okay. Well, we see the results of that today, don't we? We see a lot of problems with adults who grew up with, quote, free-range parenting. The Bible is very clear that we are to train and guide our children because they need it. Children do not make wise decisions. They're not capable of making wise decisions on their own. They have to be taught how to be wise. They have to be taught how to do things. They need to be taught how life truly works. We have a generation of kids, probably two, that were told to follow their heart and follow their dreams and don't let anything or anyone stand in their way. And they grow up and they find out that they can't keep a job. They don't know how to relate to adults. They don't know how to relate to anyone, really. They don't understand what respect is. They don't understand courtesy. They don't understand manners. They don't understand common decency because they were never taught to be that way. They were taught to think only of themselves, that they were the only ones that mattered, and that nobody should be telling them what to do. They were taught to rebel against authority. They were taught to rebel ultimately against God Himself. You do what you want to do because that is the goal of life, doing what you want to do. The problem is, it causes a lot of problems for children who are raised that way. You don't even have to go to the Bible to find out that raising your children in this manner is a bad idea. We see what happens when people are raised this way. There's entitlement. There are people who will throw fits. They will destroy things if they don't get their way because they're so used to getting their way. They're used to the parents bailing them out when they're in trouble. Children need to be taught how to be responsible, how to put their responsibilities before the fun, to do their homework, to do their chores. Before they go outside and play, or they play video games, or spend time on their phone or computer or whatever they have. They need to be taught how to be respectful to others, not just respecting elders, but respecting everybody. They need to be taught how to interact in a proper way. They need to be taught how to put other people first, how to put the needs of others before their own, or the desires of others before their own. They need to be taught to how to be obedient. They need to be taught, when it comes down to it, how to obey God. Now, you say, I don't believe in God, so that doesn't matter. Well, okay, if you want to think that way, fine. But you still need to teach them how to be responsible, respectful, courteous, and full of manners so that they can grow up to be productive people in society. And not think only of themselves, but to think of others as well. We need to teach our children right and wrong. We need to teach them that there are consequences to actions, that there is punishment due when they are disobedient or they do the wrong thing. Without that knowledge and without that training, they're going to be in a lot of trouble in the future. They're going to be fired from every job they get. They're going to be arrested. They're going to have people attack them and maybe even try to kill them. And they're going to wonder why. And there's going to be things that mommy and daddy just can't get them out of. That mom and dad cannot come to the rescue all the time. Especially when it comes to the law. And ultimately when they stand before God, mom and dad will not be there to speak on their behalf. They will have to face God on their own and answer for themselves. And you, as a parent, will also have to answer for how you raised your children, especially if you are a follower of Christ. Now, if you're not a follower of Christ, you'll be there on your own to answer for yourself. But as a follower of Christ, we have Christ as our advocate because we too are not perfect. And we too will face consequences, even though it won't be eternity in hell. It will be whatever the consequences are for the believer who ends up in heaven with God. So ask yourself, where am I failing? Where do I need to improve? And remember, it's not too late to turn things around with your children. But you have to do a lot of work to do that. Find good biblical counsel, talk to your pastor, and if you don't know Christ, come to him today and ask for his advice. This has been 5 Minute Ministries, and I'll see you next time.